Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Go, Go, Go! And in this episode, all we're going to be doing today is some more agar prep. We're going to be making agar so we can do some cleanup transfers. I do believe that liquid culture we were talking about in our previous episode is contaminated with bacterial contamination and not trichoderma or something like that we can't really clean up. That's just a loss. But if it's a bacterial contamination like I'm thinking, and it seems to look like one, we'll be able to do a special technique I'm going to show you in our next episode on how to clean that transfer up, how to clean that contaminated mycelium up and leave behind the bacterial contamination. It's going to be really cool. I can't wait because I'm going to release a new character that I created for my channel through the thumbnail for that video, the next video, and I'm excited. I can't wait. It's really cool. So this is going to be another long video. I apologize, but to kind of speed things along here, I've already got my water in my pot heating up, filled up to just above the trivet, just a little bit above the trivet in the bottom. That's going to hold everything off the bottom. Like, you don't want your jars on the bottom of your pot. Ooh, that's hot. And I've heated up my water for my agar that I'm going to be mixing up after I weigh it up. I'm still going to do that in the video. We're still going to do the measurements and everything. And I'm actually going to zap that for another, let's say 25. Yeah, let's say 26 seconds. Why not? All right. One thing I neglected to grab right off the bat was our sorghum. We need our sugar. We need our sugar sourcer. And I have my giant thing of agar, all my agar here. I don't know how well you guys can see all this. Adjust the camera a little bit. All right, I have my agar that I used in my last video. I'm going to be using this. I brought the whole thing of agar out here just to kind of show off all my agar. Yeah, look at that. And then I have the agar that I used last time that I put a little clip on, and then I put it in a Ziploc bag, right? Then I got my instant mashed potato flakes that I used in my previous video. I usually dump them out of the bag and put them in a Ziploc, but I mean, it's still in a Ziploc. It doesn't matter, whatever. Got my measuring cup to help me weigh stuff. I have my charcoal. It helps add some color and some background depth to the agar, among other benefits. I mean, there's a few benefits. It's supposed to be antimicrobial or antibiotic. Not antimicrobial, antibiotic. It's actually pro-microbial. It's good for microbes. And you know, it makes your agar, you know, dark, which you want, so you can see if it helps you visually see if there's any contamination on there, because otherwise your agar is just going to be like an opaque kind of translucent color, and it's not very good for spotting certain kinds of contamination. So usually people will add like some kind of food coloring color to color it, or charcoal, which is what I like to use because I know about all the benefits charcoal has for all kinds of things. It's good for adding to your compost. Charcoal is a great benefit. Adding that extra carbon is great. Yeah, I already said I got my homestead sorghum, and I have my scale that looks like a pack of Marlboros, but I promise it's not. I don't smoke anymore. I used to. Smoking cigarettes, bad habit. Don't do it. Nasty. Bad for you. It'll kill you, really. It will. Pretty nice scale, though. Maloro. It doesn't say Marlboro. It says a Maloro. Whatever. All right, so I got that. All right, I got my distilled water. Distilled water. It's cheap. You might as well go get some. Or even if you wanted to, you could fork over the money and buy you a water distiller yourself, so you can distill your tap water and use that. I mean, you know, you could. It's not low tech. It's not low budget, but you could. All right. And I got another jar I'm going to throw in the pot shortly before the agar is done. so that I can have another jar to dump some agar in, other than just some condiment cups to use as my agar cups. Agar petri dishes, so-called petri dishes, just condiment cups, Jello shot cups, ketchup cups, whatever you want to call them. I got my cheap aluminum foil. I usually use heavy duty. It doesn't really matter. You can just double this stuff over a couple times and boom, same thing. All right. So, all right, I got my water hot. This water's getting hot. I need my my hot pot lid holder. It does get pretty hot, and it's almost to a rolling boil. It's kind of boiling, but not quite yet. So perfect, like, we're ready. We're ready to proceed. Ow. That didn't even hurt, but for some reason I'm like, ow. Stir it up a little bit. Steaming, so I know it's hot enough. All right, we're gonna turn our scale on. Let me adjust this camera angle so we can see. All right. Push everything away. Get out of the way. All right, it's in grams. I see it's in grams. That's what I need. I set this on here. It looks like it's just under 15 grams. I'm gonna tear that. Boom. Now it says 0 because we don't want the weight of that. All right, I noticed in my last video I said something about like. Have I forgotten how to open a Ziploc? No, that's not what I said. In my last video, I realized that I had messed up. And for some reason in the video, I was saying 12 grams of agar. That's incorrect. That's not the right measurement. It's supposed to be like 8 or 9. 8. I do an extra gram just because I like to do a little more than not enough. And I have a ton of agar, so I'm not really wasting it much by doing 1 extra gram. So I go for 9. I shoot for 9 with the agar, close enough. This is a pretty accurate scale, so I'm not too worried about it being off. I've already cross-referenced it with my hanging scale and another digital scale just to make sure that they're all correct, all accurate measuring devices. All right, so I'm going to shoot for a heavier 8 or a lower 9. Let's see if we can get that. So our agar is pretty light, so it takes a bit. We're already in 8. I'm going to shoot for 9. All right, we're just over 9. It's like 9.12, whatever. Perfect. All right, and then we're going to add our charcoal. You can measure it if you like. I used to. It only takes like a gram or 2. I don't have much left. I'll have to get more. I'll just use what's left. It's already a gram. Almost 2 grams. There's almost 2 grams of charcoal, and I'll have to get more. That's the last of that batch. It's all right, though. You can get it at a Dollar Tree for pretty cheap. $1.25. Used to be $1. Now it's $1.25. $1.25 tree. Liars. Lying on me. All right, we're going to get our... we're going to get a long mixing spoon. If we have one. Here we go. A long mixing spoon. Oh yeah, that water's hot. Hot and spicy. I'm going to kind of get it mixing up a little bit already. And we're going to dump it in there. Dump it in there and mix. And start stirring the other way. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. I'm going to do it while the water's good and hot. Make sure your water is pretty good and steamy hot. It doesn't have to be boiling hot, but make sure it's pretty good and steaming hot. You can boil it if you want, get it boiling hot. Just make sure it's good and hot, all right? You want it to be. So if the agar melts into it, it's going to turn into a gelatin, remember? Kind of like, have you ever made Jello? Like Jello shots, or just have you ever made Jello in general? I have. Did you know if you use Everclear to make your Jello shots, you can set them on fire? Whoa, dude. Not for use inside. Don't do that inside. The Jello shots on fire. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Now what we do want 12 grams of is our potato flakes. 12 grams. We've already got this torn. Oop. Came out quicker than I meant. Should have put a smaller hole in this stuff. Oh. All right, there's almost 11. We're going to say it's 10 and a half. Put that in there. Should have grabbed a bigger measuring spoon. That was my bad. So another like gram and a half. Ooh, that's too much. Too much. That's why we measure. All right. And the last thing we have to measure here. Hello. It said hello to me. I didn't realize my scale says hello when you started it. Hello. Cool. All right. Tear. All right, last thing we got to measure are sorghum. A bit of dusty on top. And the lid gets glued shut on it. This is like a thick molasses. It's basically like a molasses. All right, so I'm just going to try to... No, I'm going to grab another spoon. Don't be dummy. Don't be a dummy. You gotta be careful with this stuff. It's messy. Oh, here we are. It's almost 5. It's 470. It'll be all right. A little more than ain't gonna hurt. This stuff is messy. I don't want it all over the side of the jar, so I'm gonna wipe it off with my clean finger. Mmm. I hope everyone's doing all right out there. I know I am. I'm doing pretty good. Been enjoying my time, my solitude. Lately, I've discovered I have something of a creative mind. I've been like writing stories and shit. Like, I'll talk about it more in the future. The thumbnail I use for this video is kind of a sneak peek into like the very end of this story I'm writing, which I hadn't really told too many people about, to be honest. I told like my dad in the first, his reaction wasn't a good one, just because he doesn't understand anything about mushroom cultivation. He thinks that anything to do with mushrooms, it must be to do with drugs, and it's not. I mean, there's plenty of mushrooms that are not anything to do with altering your states of your mind and your consciousness and all that, you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of medicinal mushrooms that don't make you see purple elephants, guys. They don't do that. Not all of them. There's some really good ones out there that don't make you see pink and purple elephants and stuff. I honestly don't know where people get that. The pink elephants. I don't know. Is that from a movie, show, old movie? Seems like older folks say that. Must be from an old movie. Okay, there's our sorghum. Cool. Mix it up, 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 mix it up. Get a really good mix. Like I said in my previous episode where we made agar, you can't undermix it. I mean, you can't over. I said it messed up again. You can't overmix it, but you can definitely undermix it for sure. 100%. But you also don't want to wait for it to like cool off too much. Start to solidify and stuff. Put my tater flakes back up. Y'all call them tater babies up there. We call them tater logs. Yeah, it's a more southern thing. Tater logs, y'all. Sounds like hog. Sorry, I grew up in Arkansas. Yup, I'm a goofball. My grandpa, he was a Kentucky hillbilly. Coolest person I ever met, though. My grandpa. Definitely a good role model. You know, he was a very down-to-earth, humble dude. He's always out in his garden, you know, or fishing. He liked being outside. You know, he got his exercise, and you know, he's an active dude up until the end. And he's also just very cool. I had a lot of respect for my grandpa. He used to own a antique shop with my grandma in Chillicothe, Illinois. I forget the name of it. I think it was called Sleepy Hollow Antiques or something. I don't know. I'll have to ask my mom. It was before my time. All right, so we got our modded lid we're going to put on there. Got that all mixed up pretty good for the most part. Don't want to shake it too aggressively after putting the lid on. You don't want to get that filter patch all nasty. You can always just like put some paper tape over it, or heck, I could cut a piece of my KN95 mask and put that on there. Did I already say paper tape? You could use a couple layers of coffee filter if that's all you got. But usually what I use coffee filters for, and I don't have any right now because we use a Keurig. See a Keurig? But I am going to get some coffee filters because what I usually use them for is when I make liquid cultures or grain jars or whatever. I don't like to just leave the top open and exposed to contamination and dust and crap like that. I'll put, if not some foil, I'll grab some coffee filters because you can put the coffee filters snug around them and it doesn't matter. It's still breathable. And you can cover that with like a rubber band, you know, or take some twist ties and tie them together and then tie them around. Whatever you got to do. All right, so this isn't heavy duty foil, so I'm just going to double it. We're here for trouble. And make it double. Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light. I don't remember the rest. I should. I used to watch Pokemon until Yu-Gi-Oh was a thing, and then it was all about Yu-Gi-Oh, like, you know. All right, so here we are, ready. Finger tight. See? I'm not like putting pressure. It's just enough to like turn the jar. I'm not like squeezing it tight, but it shouldn't really matter because I have the filter patch on it, you know. So I don't have to worry about the pressure building up and like fucking popping the lid or causing the agar to boil over too much or whatever, as long as you don't overcook it. Shit. Get this crap even. There we go. It's already like pretty hot. It's not quite boiling hot. But I'm going to turn it up. We're going to get it to a rolling boil. We don't leave it at a rolling boil, but we do get it to a rolling boil, and then you just turn it down to like a very low boil or simmer. You don't want it on a rolling full boil the whole cook, because then you'll overcook it. Or you'll caramelize the sugars, or it could boil over, and then you'll have agar coming out of the lid. And it's like, oh man, is it ruined now? Could be. Definitely could be. So, I can't start my timer until I turn it down. What I can do, start packing up my supplies I got out, right? And putting everything away. Like, my dad's going to get home later, and he doesn't want to see a bunch of crap sitting out on the counter. And he's like, oh, what is this? Like, sitting up a dab in here? No, Dad, nothing like that. Even messing with magic mushrooms, let alone anything to do with like, anything crazier than that. Like, we're just growing medicinal mushrooms here, guys. Calm down. Everyone hears mushrooms and they jump to conclusions, I guess, or whatever. Luckily, the world's changing. People are waking up, Ooh, look at how quick that's picking up and boiling. I'd give it like another minute. It's 7:22. I'm gonna wait another minute, and then I'll turn it down. At least another minute. Then I'll turn it down to a simmer or a very low boil. Instant mashed potato flakes. Put those up. Put those. I have some brown rice here that we're going to use in a future episode. We're going to be pasteurizing this through fractional tyndallization using a pot. And this can be used because it is not parboiled, right? And one way you can tell it's not parboiled is it doesn't say, let's see, heat and simmer for 35 minutes. If it says to cook this stuff for less than 35 minutes, or less than 20 minutes, I think. If it says to cook it for like 20 minutes or less, it's parboiled. It's already been boiled a little bit. It doesn't take as long to cook. This is not parboiled. I even looked it up before I bought it. I got this from Sam's Club. It's whole grain brown rice, Mahatma, America's favorite rice. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it works. It's not parboiled. If it's parboiled, you can't use it. All right, it's like not usable. But this is not parboiled, so this is usable. We're gonna use it. I also have some popcorn I may use too. I've never actually used popcorn, but I've used rice. I've used millet. I've used wild bird seed. I've used whole oats. They all work, right? Some require a slightly different prep, but they all work. Mushrooms love growing on grains. The only holdup is whether or not that grain has enough nutrition for it to fruit mushrooms in the end. It has to derive enough nutrition from those grains to not only grow as a mycelium, but to get to the stage where it starts pinning and fruiting mushrooms as well. Some rice isn't nutritious enough for this. Like white rice, I've tried it. You can get mycelium growing on it, and it looks really nice, right? It looks good. It grows good on it, but it doesn't derive enough nutrition to actually ever fruit any mushrooms. So that's one thing I didn't necessarily understand in like the very beginning of my mycology journey was like, yeah, your white rice isn't generally nutritious enough. Brown rice is, for sure. Like that. So we got it at a pretty good rolling boil. I had to adjust it to the middle. The trivet, the metal lid that I'm using, isn't exactly flat, but I just put it in the middle, and I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. And turn it down to like halfway medium. See how that does. I got to adjust it from here on. We'll see. 726. Set timer. So it'll be 8:54. Yeah, like 8:54. $8.58. We'll do that 8:58. So it's an hour and a half. I'm gonna make sure to turn my sound up. All right. Cool. I put away my scale. I no longer need that. I was kind of out of breath before I started the video, just because I just ran around and like very quickly finished my laundry and stuff, and folded it and put all my stuff, organized my room, clean. I had to like hurry up and just cover all my other bases besides the bases that I got to cover just to do my mycology stuff, right? All right. Oil. Keep that. Put these up. Sustain. Put all that up. Charcoal. Put that up. Grab a bottle of water. I'm thirsty. I don't know how the weather is where you guys are, but here in Mountain Home, Arkansas, it's pretty nice right now. It was a little warm out earlier. It was actually pretty warm out earlier, but it wasn't like, oh my God, it's so blazing hot. You know what I mean? It was just kind of humid. My dad keeps it very nice and cool in the house, so I'm fine. I like to go outside though, especially when the weather's nice. Even when it's not, I'm outside a lot of the time too. I'll just put up with the heat, sweat my balls off anyway. I don't care. Ain't gonna stop me from going outside. This is one of the characters for this story I'm developing. And I've got a whole backstory for him and everything. And he kind of just coming up with this image accidentally kind of helped inspire me to like create an entire story out of all of my characters. And so like I've got an entire book that I like. I don't know, sometimes I'm just all of a sudden hyper focused and I can write an entire movie script in one sitting or something like that, like just a what if scenario for something that I'm like interested in. I'll come up with an idea all of a sudden just seemingly out of nowhere. I don't know if it's because I hit my head and all of a sudden I have like these creative abilities that I didn't have. If you want to call them abilities, I'm just creative in a way that I never was before. And I don't know. I want to attribute that to the fact that I hit my head and kind of jostled my system. And now all of a sudden I'm like able to do art and write creatively, which I mean, I guess I could write creatively before, but I never really like pursued it or did it in any like real depth, you know. But now I'm able to like make all these connections in my head that I wasn't able to before, and like come up with an entire world in my head. It's kind of cool, you know. So, but now my memory's kind of messed up sometimes too, so it's kind of a blessing and a curse, you know. Brain damage. Brain damage. Remember that song by Slim Shady? Eminem. Brain damage. All right. It's kind of a low boil. I'm going to leave it at that low boil at least for a good while so I know it's like good sterile, but I might also adjust it slightly and turn it down. It's not at a really strong rolling boil. It's just boiling. It's not like, you know. It does matter. You don't want it like you're gonna overcook it. You can get it to a rolling boil, like I keep saying. You don't want to leave it at a rolling boil. It's gonna overdo it. And plus, you're gonna end up cooking all your water out, and that ain't good either. That'll just definitely burn everything. In this jar, I'm gonna add the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It doesn't really matter. This is a clean jar. There's nothing in here. Just whatever potential contamination in here is going to die really quick when I put it in that pot. Dust mites or whatever. My breath. So, I guess I might as well take you with. We're gonna go take some of this stuff back to my room. Whoops, there goes my charcoal. That's okay. We're going to take some of this stuff back to my room. We're going to cover all our bases, make sure all of our fans are off, windows shut, yada, 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 air conditioners off, all that. We're going to get our still air box ready and prepped so we can use it. All right. Cool beans. Might as well turn you guys around so you can actually see this still air box. So I have all these condiment cups that I have neglected to put away yet, right? Well, let me grab my light so you guys can actually see. Aha! Voila! Voila! And let there be light. And it was good. It was good. All right. So, yeah, I neglected to put any of these away. We are going to use them in a very near future episode, but not today. So we're going to put them away. We're going to put them in something clean to keep the dust off, right? I'm going to go grab a Tupperware